Today we have Beth Flippo lead on WeCan with her story of launching DEXA, a drone carrier company, after a stressful pharmacy run as a mom of four. You now lead a $120 million aviation asset portfolio, bringing next-gen delivery systems to life for real communities. Your story is all about turning everyday frustrations into infrastructure that truly serves us. So Beth, talk to us a little bit about DEXA and those pivotal points that led you to where you are today.
So DEXA is a drone delivery company. So we are an eco-friendly, autonomous way to get things delivered to your home in 15 minutes. And it came about because, like you said, there was one time I have four children, and one of them needed to go with me to the pharmacy to get medication. And I had to bring all of my kids in with me because I couldn't leave them at home. And I'm like, there has to be a better way to get things delivered that don't cost a fortune and can get delivered quickly. And I just knew drones had that possibility and started this company about 6 years ago now.
Amazing, Beth. So how did you think that you were able to start DEXA?
So I am an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm an embedded software developer. So it means I specifically write code for microcontrollers, microprocessors. That leads to a lot of mobility. And that's why what I started with the aircraft is I'm not a mechanical engineer. And most drone companies, most robotics companies are founded by people who are mechanical and like to build things. I am focused more on the brain and the intelligence and the communications platform of these devices. So it was different for us. We went from like the inside out, where most drone companies go from the outside in. And we hired some very talented drone designers to work around our intelligent platform. And now we're on iteration 5 of that drone. And now we have even a new, bigger drone coming out this year.
Amazing. Beth, so
Yeah.
talk to us how you went from, having this idea, obviously having sort of the right background, to then scaling it to where you are today.
So I worked in banking in the beginning after school, but then I went to work for a family business that was a defense contracting company. It was very small. My parents founded it in '84. And that was where I started using more of my engineering, more of my building. And one of the things we made was this radio that lets drones talk to each other in the sky. And we, instead of the military, got all these commercial drone delivery companies calling us, asking to buy this. And I said, I've got something here. I think this could be a real commercial company. Can I spin off a commercial company? So my dad, as dads do, he said, sure, you get me a customer that wants this and I'll let you do that. And I still give that advice to people who want to found a company today too, is find a customer before you start building like crazy. Show that somebody, even if it's a letter of intent. But I followed the advice, and Amazon had just bought Whole Foods. So they were doing drone delivery for grocery. So I started looking at grocery stores, and Kroger lit up for me because within 3 miles of every Kroger, you reach 100 million people. So a third of the US population lives within a very comfortable drone distance from a Kroger brand store. So I'm living outside of New York City, and I just started stalking them. I driving my 4 kids, my poor husband, to Southwest Ohio to be in the neighborhood all the time. And right in the beginning of the pandemic, we finally signed a contract with them and put roots down and built the company here in Dayton, because they picked a store in Dayton. It's a suburb of Cincinnati where their headquarters is. And we just have been going through certification and building the aircraft and working with other partners now. And it's been a journey. It's been very, fundraising and building a company and managing people, gone through all of it. So now we really feel like this is our moment to scale.
Yeah, it's a hugely exciting moment in terms of commercial, but also in terms of defense, right, Beth? So talk to us a little bit about this really big vision. You're getting to 5.0 of your original model. You have a really exciting business working every day to deliver things to people.
Yeah. On the commercial side, what's really propels us is that there are only four players in this space that are both, we are certified. We have a Part 135. We're a certified domestic air carrier, which means we're an airline. And then we also have a certification on our aircraft. And those two, there's only four. It's Amazon, Google Wing, Zipline, and Little Us that are out there that have both. And what's interesting is we had no intention of going into defense. I'd come out of defense, and instead, our certification for the unmanned aircraft is the highest level of certification in the US for an unmanned aircraft. So they're coming to us. They're like, we need this. This is a US made and not just assembled in the United States. Our aircraft is fully manufactured, every single component, other than maybe two components with allied nations. It is a fully American aircraft. So for defense purposes, they're really excited to want to buy this aircraft, but they want to use it on base. We're not talking about using our aircraft in any way, shape, or form for munitions. It's a truly dual purpose solution. It's the same aircraft, whether it's carrying burritos or whether it's carrying tools on our base. It's the same aircraft. And that's exciting to us.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So the sky's the limit for you, Beth. What give us some, where is one at when one is at this stage? You've been able to conquer all of these hurdles, just to achieve regulatory approval and those breakthroughs. That's so massive.
Yeah, it took a lot of effort, and you are not allowed to fly cargo for compensation until you're an airline. That's how it works. So you can't earn any money. So while you're going through certification, you are having to raise and there's no guarantee that you're going to get certified.
Yeah.
So it was a big gamble, but it really paid off. So that's good.
Yeah.
And somehow in all the midst of this, I became the first female CEO of an unmanned airline, which is exciting for me because, we always talk about breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And here I helped create a whole new industry, and there is no glass ceiling. From day one, there has been a woman at the table. And that is what's very exciting for me, to have been able to do that.
That's exciting for all of us, for
Yeah.
everyone listening, and for everyone that comes across your story. So what is your advice for women in general, but especially in this aerospace area?
So I think this is a perfect industry for women because women, when you talk about aviation, there's a lot of risk when you become a pilot and you're in the air, and women have a lot of things we think about. We think about our kids, we think about our houses. We're not necessarily designed to be risk takers in a physical sense, but we are in terms of, raising money and building businesses and doing things like that. So this is an industry where you can love aviation and look up and build things, but not have to be the one in there being the test pilot. So I think that resonates a lot with women, especially regulations. We are control freaks. We like organization. We like being able to be given a structure, and women follow that, I believe, a lot better than our male counterparts even do. That because that just comes naturally. We're the ones who make lists, even in our own homes, things that we have to do. We are if we don't, that is something that it just is a part of us. And that's why here we have a very regulated industry that women will really succeed in this new space.
Yeah. Listening to you, I'm thinking you're really a systems innovator, right? You have you have exploded so many barriers on your road to being where you are today. And talk to us a little bit about those main learnings from, getting to where you are today.
So I get asked that a lot, like what's the number one advice you would give to other people in entrepreneurship? And the one thing that was the hardest for me to learn was about raising money and
Mm,
about understanding that you alone can raise money for your business.
yeah,
And women don't like to necessarily ask for help. It's very hard for us. And, we're hoping that there's going to be somebody that's going to come in that's going to be able to like speak their language and do it better. And it has to be you. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be comfortable not always being perfectly polished. You have to make those phone calls, and that is something that I took a lot for me to
mm,
get over and learn. But now that I've learned it, I know how to do this. But you have to get believers. You have to be comfortable raising money because your competition are raising money.
yeah.
And even though you think like, I want this all for myself, I don't want any partners, that's not the way the world works. You have to include other people in your journey. And that's what I try to explain to people is don't be afraid. Investors get a very bad rap. You hear all the time like, oh, they're going to control your business. They're going to be tough on you. I've never had a negative interaction
Mm,
with any of my investors. It could also be the way I handle them is very different. It could be the female element. I do video town halls where all the investors are on there and can ask me questions and
yeah.
hear updates. I do constant newsletters, text messages, emails. I flood them with the information so that they feel included because they're like employees, but they're
Yeah.
giving their money instead of their time. They really want to know what's going on and they really want to help. So I send out things saying, this is how you can help us.
Mm,
We're looking for somebody to help in manufacturing. If you know somebody, let us know. We're looking to build a building here. Do you know anybody in real estate or somebody that's lived there? I think including them in the process is what's made us have such strong relationships. And most of my investors have reinvested in every round, which speaks a lot to me. It's a very
yeah.
humbling thing
Yeah.
to think
Yeah.
about. But you're talking a long time, 6 years, and they're still there behind us. But they're the wind behind our backs, really,
Yeah.
to move this forward.
Yeah. You clearly have done a really amazing job. So paint us the picture of how you see the next 10 years unfold, Beth, because I'm sitting in London. I have never had anything delivered by courier. Of course, I want that because it's amazing. I can get my burrito warm in 15 minutes. That's incredible. But when you speak, I'm thinking that still sort of sounds like a futuristic movie to me.
Yeah, I live, I think, 10 years ahead of everybody else. I have this expression that I use that I'm not a futurist. I just refuse to accept the present. Like I see in 10 years, autonomous delivery, whether it's on the ground or in the air, is all there's going to be. It is absolutely completely different, a completely better brands, they spend so much money on their brand and then they give it to
Mm,
some guy on a motorcycle for the last 10 minutes that you
yeah.
don't even know what's happening. Like these are things, and aside from the eco-friendly aspect of it too, which is
Hmm.
very important,
Yeah.
it's the same cost and same time for a delivery anywhere in the world. And there's never been anything in logistics like this that you can actually time like drone delivery because
Mm,
there's no traffic, there's nothing to slow it down. And I really feel too that this is a technology that is going to be embraced much stronger in Europe first. So normally
mm,
technology starts in the United States and would head over to Europe. But the first time we see that not happen is with cell phones, because
yeah.
cell phones really took hold in Europe first, because getting into those old buildings was hard. You needed cell phones. The need was much more than the American need when we're building brand new homes and we don't have any of these, historical buildings that are made out of stone that you can't drill a wire into. That's what made wireless so important out there.
Yeah.
This is very similar. The traffic, the cost of fuel, all these things are much worse in Europe than even in the United States. And that's why you're going to see, as soon as drones are able to fly around in London and get you what you need, and you don't have to think about who's touching your food or what it's doing or paying extra for like the gas prices that are going up because there's a war or there's something, all of that goes away. That's where you're really going to see this really take hold. And we're already seeing a lot of requests coming in from overseas. But what needed to be done first was the regulations. And the FAA is the gold standard really around the world. You know, people buy Boeing aircraft and Airbus aircraft because they go through the FAA's process of certification, in the same way with airlines. So I feel that now that hurdle has been overcome. Europe is going to be able to look to the US standards of these certifications and be like, okay, this is how we do this. Let's get going. So I think you're going to see the change in London much faster than people are going to see it in New York. But in 10 years, it will be everywhere. You will not even notice them anymore.
So our airspace will be really busy. How is that going to work? How can we ensure safety?
So that's where the regulations come in. So I discuss, like, I try to educate people on what that means. So we have a bag of screws, for example, stainless steel screws. We have to vet the vendor, where they came from, what metals went into making that screw. Then you also have a part number. Let's say one of those screws breaks on one drone. You know, every screw that came out of that bag and every drone that has got a screw from that bag. So you pull all of them out and you do maintenance. It's this level of quality and this level of diligence that the FAA teaches that makes sure that these aircraft are going to be safe. So manned aviation is the safest form of travel in the world, and it's because of these regulations. So drones we have to adhere to that same level of safety, except now you don't even have the pilot. And a lot of modern aviation incidents are caused by either the pilot or somebody on the ground guiding the aircraft. You eliminate that, drones are going to be the safest form of travel there is. So that's not going to be a concern. But, I do get asked a lot, but what happens when you have all these drones up in there blocking out the sun? And you're going to see a lot of highways in the sky start to develop. You're going to see aircraft carrying more than one delivery. You're going to see a lot of these routing, almost like you saw in trucks. You're going to see that start developing in these cities, and it's not going to be, just drones flying everywhere. It's going to be very regulated and organized. So you're not going to have that kind of issue either.
And Beth, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, of course, that's amazing for all of us consumers to get what we want really fast and eco-friendly and safely, etc. But it's also potentially really useful to get people things in parts of the world where there aren't any things.
Yeah, that's absolutely for rural deliveries. But even for urban, our office is in downtown Dayton, and it is a food desert here. Their grocery stores do not want to put down roots in these areas. And that leads to a lot of people not wanting to live here. And the less people that live here, the less money that goes to the schools. And all of this just continues to drive everything down. And drone delivery will allow a supermarket 10 miles away to fly fresh food into those neighborhoods. So for the people that want to start bringing these back, they'll have access. They don't have to go to a convenience store like we do today. They'll have access to everything and eventually start to build those cities back up so that the stores want to come back. But it's a natural step. And that's exciting to us because we live in it. We experience it every single day. So that is definitely part of our, mission here, is to help revive our communities too.
Amazing. And so what does it feel like to be a company that is undoubtedly unbelievably successful, but compared to the sort of, biggies that you named earlier that are Goliaths, what does it feel like to be in that sort of marketplace?
It's interesting. I made a LinkedIn post that got a lot of traction talking about this and saying, what is our greatest advantage? And our greatest advantage has been that we didn't have money.
Hmm.
Because when you don't have money, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking, like even in our own homes, if you can't afford, the expensive couches, how do you get, something that looks like it, or how do you complement it? That's where creativity thrives, is when
Yeah.
you do have constraint.
Yeah.
So I look at it as our competitors are flush with money. They have so much money that it's going to make them lazy in how
Mm.
they operate. They're not going to have the same drive that we have to solve problems. They can throw drones at it where I can't, because my drones cost a lot of money. So I try to think, how do I reuse these aircraft? How do I utilize them better? So I'm not just throwing, metal at a solution. And we are seeing that already because our competitors are not in major cities. They're
Mm.
staying where the weather's nice. They're down in Arkansas for Walmart, or Dallas, so they never have to compete with weather. These are areas where there's very little congestion on the ground, and even less in the air. And I'm a New Yorker. I am like, this has to work. Anything you're building at all has to work for people in the tri-state area in New York City, or don't bother building it. I don't care what the
Yeah.
technology is, but that's
Yeah.
where the money is. That's where people are. So we just went live with Grubhub in New Jersey, and they told us, you were the only company that was willing to come here. And for the FAA, you know, there are 3 international airports right there. There
Yeah.
are helicopters flying there. There's medevac helicopters because you have so many more people and more hospitals. It's the most congested airspace in the entire world. And we said, you know what? We're going to go there. This is going to be how we make ourselves better. And we're going to figure this out. We're going to handle the weather, the freezing cold winters, the super hot summers. Our competitors, with all of their money and all of their PhDs and all of their everything, are not doing that. So it's like, I'm already seeing what I talk about is, you're already seeing that no great technology has come out of a giant company. It just doesn't. It's never
Mm.
has. It always comes from some small company from the edge that's run by an entrepreneur that comes in and disrupts everything.
Yeah.
And you're
And
going to see that same thing for this delivery. It's going to be whoever has the most constraint
mm.
and puts themselves out there and takes the most risk. And that's usually the ones that don't have money flowing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I think you're
I
going to see the big difference.
I love what you just said. It's so powerful. The underdog breeds innovation, and yes, and this courage that you have to figure it out and to go to the difficult places. And what is your long game, Beth? So what is success for you?
So I've never run this company about an exit. I come from 2 parents who were entrepreneurs and ran their business for 40 years. So for me, I think a successful company, yes, there are acquisitions, there is going public, there is an exit strategy, but I don't focus the entire company on that. We
Yeah.
focus on, what if we are here and we are building 15 years from now? Let's
Mm.
keep building towards that, because that will make us build things better than thinking, oh, I'm going to get bought next year. The chances of an acquisition are really high for us because we are so small. We are the only drone company you can still invest in, and our certificates are incredibly rare.
Mm.
Even major airlines don't have a certificate to fly unmanned. So I know what we have, and I know that puts us, I'm sure there's, already discussions going on, but that's just not the way I think a company can be successful, is just thinking and hoping that somebody's going to come around with a big check. We set out because we had a mission. We wanted to change the world. We wanted to make the world a better place. And that's really what we focus on. And, I preach a lot about our mission, which is, to be a technology that brings us back together. Because most
Mm.
technologies, tear us apart. Air
Yeah.
conditioning makes you now want to stay at home, and elevators makes, bigger buildings so you can, not talk to your neighbors. Like, always been that even, Zoom and all these things make it so now you don't even have to travel. This is a technology that's going to give local stores a chance to offer delivery that, is what's killing what all these online retailers have been using to kill them all this time. It's going to give them that fighting chance now. So we're hoping to see drone delivery do a lot more than just fast delivery, but actually bring back a lot of the quality that was, lost, that you still have in Europe. You still have a lot of those specialty stores. And I would love to see that revival in the United States, because drone delivery is giving them the chance. And if they have both, letting people come into the store and buy and delivery, they'll be able to beat online because they'll be able to offer both.
Beth, thank you for leading with such great values, real human, great, good values, and that technology can bring us back together. I love it. So what are those plans and dreams for the next 5 to 10 years? Where are you,
So
what
now,
is the big picture? Where are you heading?
So we've got a lot of customers in the pipeline that we're going to be going live with. And I would love in 5 years to have us be in every major city in the country and have it be, when people think of drone delivery, they say, oh, just DEXA it, and that's really the way we move our goods now. And you're going to see it just in the next 2 years. It's just going to start being everywhere. And I hope that people embrace it. I tell people, just wave to the sky as we fly by, like just support this new technology, because it's so, so good for all of us to start using that. In 5 years, I hope it's something that everybody is just used to. They don't even open the door anymore. They just know that the drone dropped it off. So
Beth, I am buying your vision. Your vision, I'm buying wholeheartedly. I'm not so sure if I'm buying the one from the big tech bros, but yes, your vision I'm buying.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about the takeaways that our listeners have from your story, if you had to sum it up,
If you are running a business, and I would just say, just keep going. Every day is hard. Every day, to me, brings new opportunities. So keep putting yourself out there. I always use the expression that you should look on the bright side of everything in life, even whether you're having your own business or you're working for somebody else. And I like that expression, because when you say look on the bright side, you're acknowledging that there's a dark side. And I feel that when you choose the bright side, that is a choice. That is making you strong. You are choosing something. It's much easier to live in the dark. It's hard to choose the bright side, but every time you do, it makes you a little bit stronger. It's a little win. And those wins go a long way. So no matter what you're doing in your life, just always think, if I could just look on the bright side, it's going to be okay. And it might not be okay immediately, but if you try to do those little wins of looking on the bright side every time, eventually it's going to work out.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to finish, Beth. Thank you so much. I'm so impressed with you. I'm so impressed with DEXA. I'm so impressed with your big vision, the future that you're painting for us. And I love that you are a woman leading in this aerospace industry with the best interests of people at heart. And that is palpable.
I appreciate that. It's definitely a different kind of business, the way we run it here.